So hello, everyone. Test, test. Yes, hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to this Wisdom Live event, Mind Training in the Mahamudra tradition. Thank you for coming, and also thank you to everyone joining us via the live stream online. So this evening we'll have a live Wisdom podcast interview, and then we'll have a 10-minute intermission. We've got some bit of refreshments at the back, so please help yourself. And then we'll all come back for the teaching. And yeah, I think that's it. So please do shut off all devices, and please join me in welcoming His Eminence Zurmang Gharwang Rinpoche and Wisdom CEO and publisher, Daniel Aitken.
So I think we got a sound check there. Great. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, including everyone online. And I also want to thank Harvard Divinity School and Chris Berlin for hosting us, Wisdom Publications and Gharwang Rinpoche this evening. And of course, I want to especially thank Rinpoche for coming on the Wisdom Live event podcast, and also to come and give us a teaching tonight.
Good evening, friends. I'm very pleased to have all of you here tonight. And hopefully the discussion we're going to have shortly will be meaningful to your life. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Wisdom Publication for making all necessary arrangements. And also I'd like to thank Harvard University for hosting me here tonight. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much.
So let me first introduce Rinpoche. So Rinpoche was recognized by the 16th Karmapa as the 12th Zurmang Gharwang Rinpoche, an emanation of the great Indian Mahasiddha Talopa, and the 12th incarnation of Trungma Se. So Rinpoche's first incarnation, Trungma Se, he started the Zurmang Kagyu lineage. And so many of us in the English-speaking world, of course, know about the Zurmang Kagyu because of Trungpa Rinpoche, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. So to give some context, Chogyam Trungpa's lineage was the Zurmang lineage, and actually the first Gharwang Rinpoche, or Trungma Se, was the teacher of the first Trungpa Rinpoche. So we have that sort of connection in the English-speaking world. Rinpoche. So Rinpoche, I thought then we could start with talking about the Zurmang Kagyu lineage, and in particular, the whispered lineage, and then specifically Trungma Se Chakchen, so the Trungma Se Mahamudra, and how it relates to Lojong mind training.
Okay. Zurmang Kagyu was founded about close to 700 years ago by Trungma Se Lodro Rinchen, who happened to be the main disciple of Fifth Karmapa. And he inherited one of the teaching known as whispering lineage. From Vajradhara, Telopa until Fifth Karmapa, the teaching was passed down to one individual to another individual. And when Fifth Karmapa met Trungma Se, the first Gharwang, he said, okay, you own this teaching, so now you have to take care. I've been taking care for so many years. It's not your job. So this is how the lineage has passed down. And today we have preserved this lineage very much in Tibet, also in Sikkim. And my hope and belief is that in near future, I'll be bringing this teaching to West. And this is the purpose why I'm here.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So we're fortunate to have had Rinpoche on the Wisdom podcast before, but this is the first time we've had the video version and also a live version of the podcast. So very honored to have Rinpoche back again. And so when we do the video podcast, I had an idea to ask the guests to bring something special, a special object that has meaning for their spiritual practice. And Rinpoche, being head of Zurmang Lineage, has many treasures in Tibet and also in Sikkim as well, which is his other monastery. And so I asked Rinpoche to bring two objects here today with him, and one is a Phurba, and the other is a special Tara statue. So I thought Rinpoche would start with the Phurba. If you could tell us a little bit of the, if you could show us the Phurba.
I have this, we call it Phurba. It's a kind of dagger which signifies compassion to destroy all the negative forces. Like parents, even though they love their children, but sometimes if children is too naughty, sometimes you need to show angry face. Doesn't mean that you're angry from your heart. Similarly, Buddhas, they appear in different forms to help and guide all these beings. Therefore, Phurba is a very powerful tool that we use particularly in Vajrayana. And if it's small, you actually carry with you. So wherever I go, I carry with me. That's the Phurba. So there's a history behind this Phurba. There is a Tibetan called maybe a treasure hunter. Yeah?
Treasure hunter.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So, but this treasure hunter from Tibet, his name is Phurba Doji, who is well known in Zurmang Gharwang lineage. He resides in Phurba Rinpoche's monastery in Dusitel. So one day he said that, okay, I will discover something very precious, you know. So he brought everyone to this lake called Jamtsonama near, today we call it Yushu. It's in Nangchen. So he said, I will enter this lake. Whatever happens, nobody should scream or make sound, you know. That's at least you should do. So the moment he entered the lake, and the lake started boiling and start throwing everything, you know, from the lake. So everybody was so frightened, they started running everywhere and screaming. And that's the time that, you know, there's a, similar to like demon, you know, it sounds very funny. We call it a demon, Ludu Kalarakcha. He was sleeping inside the lake, and this Phurba was inside his throat. So, and then he was able to grab the Phurba. The moment he grabbed the Phurba, the noise started coming out, you know, from the people screaming, you know. Suddenly the demon wake up. When he breathed, the breath touched one part of left face of Tibetan Phurba Doji. So according to history, his half face is dark because of the poison. So this is the Phurba, you know. It's we call it sky iron. You know, it's made from sky iron, something material. What do you call that? Namcha. We call it namcha. So this is the Phurba. You know, it looks like a wedding ring, but it's not wedding. So normally, you know, probably, you know what normally we just you know, carry with us. We never wear like this. Probably maybe certain prayers, maybe you use as a, you know, tool to basically not necessarily to destroy the forces externally. The most importantly, it has a deeper significance. It is to destroy your emotions, such a negative emotion, anger, jealousy. So what this Phurba is about. So instead of showing out others, so you have to show yourself.
So we're very fortunate. Rinpoche often carries it with him, but he doesn't often bring it out. So we're lucky to have that out. And it's many hundreds of years old.
Yeah,
and
I think
so how do you use this then? What do you use this
for? Normally, you know, it's too small to use for ceremonies. So normally we just keep, you know, inside this cage, and I bring wherever I go for protection. So, you know, if I feel that I have a lot of nightmares, then I.
Or watching a horror movie. Watching a horror movie.
Yeah, I like to watch zombie movies. So so I like to keep with me. So it really helps me.
Protection.
Okay.
Tochen Ropa Dorje, the teacher is used in Zurmang.
So there are many, he discovered many terma, we call it terma, hidden treasure. There are many texts about Guru Rinpoche in many wrathful forms. So even today we practice, even in Sikkim, I practice every day. So this is like very much linked to my practice. Something wonderful.
And then in Sikkim New Year, in Sikkim New Year at the monastery.
We have a big ceremony. We call it Choral. It goes up to like almost 7 to 10 days. So it's like starting early morning, like 3 something, goes up to 7 at night or 10 at night, It's a long prayer ceremony, but there's a short one also, like for today's context. We also have a short practices because nobody could do such a long one. So we have a short one. If you're interested, next time I can give you the short one.
And then Rinpoche, Ropa Dorje is from Dutsitil Monastery.
Dutsitil Monastery, yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that monastery and Nam Gyaltsen?
When Zurmang Kaju was established, then Tungmas had many disciples, 8 and 3, and interestingly, there were 4 yoginis in Zurmang tradition. We have 4 yogini. They were great master yoginis, And through all this disciple, every disciple established different monastery in different area of Eastern Tibet. And Trungpa Rinpoche is being one of the disciples of Tongma Lodo Rinchen. So he established Dutsitel, known as Dutsitel. So our monastery, the monastery that I in my 11 karma used to live is called Nam Gyelte. It's considered as a mother-like monastery. And the Trungpa Rinpoche's monastery is known as son-like monastery. So basically there are 3 main teachers, 17 but 3 men, like they call it Karten Trusum. So we are 3 buddies.
3 buddies. Then Rinpoche, I'm wondering how did this...
this was offered to 11 Karwang by Ropa Dorje. And then, then this was left in Tibet, with one of the student of 11 Karwang. So when I went back, so he gave it back to me. So I have this.
So previous Ropa Dorje gave
offered to 11 Karwang.
And then
since then I've been, I've been keeping this treasure.
Is there the Ropa Dorje Tuku still in Tibet?
Yeah. Now we are finding his reincarnation, and I have requested Sebeni Karmapa. His own is Sebeni Karmapa, and I just met him like 2 weeks ago in New York. He says, coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon, he says. So I'm waiting for the good news.
So breaking news on the wisdom time. And anything else on the anything more on the Phurba you want to say?
I also have a statue, Tara statue. Yeah.
Do you want to...
One thing I have to really, say, I've been in this hall for so many times, and I've been as a student, and today I've been here teaching. I feel a bit funny. The feeling is so different. Yeah. Because I came to this hall many times because when I was studying in the extension school. I'm still a student, not yet graduate, so it's so different feeling to be again teaching here.
Yeah, it's funny. Rinpoche was in Chris Berlin's class, like maybe 5 years ago. Yeah. Was it 5 years ago?
No, 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. Yeah.
2 years since you've been here. Yeah. Shall we talk about Tara?
Tara, okay. This is a Tara. Belong to, again, another terten. In Tibet, we have many terten. Like for instance, Guru Padmasambhava. Before he left the world, He have hidden many treasure in different part of Tibet, in many, even in Bhutan, many places, for the future generation. So there are like 25 different disciples of 24 disciples of Guru Padmasambhava. So they have these authorities and ability to rediscover. So this is again Therma, is a Tara. This belongs to one of the Tertun. And when I met him, then then after that, he attained paranirvana and he left a message with this statue. He had two statues. One of the statue was 13 Karmapa. Karmapa made himself the statue, And then he had this Tara statue with him. So he said to his attendant, tell me, that there will be many Karmapa coming. Karmapa, 17 Karmapa, there will be until 21 Karmapa. May prolong, you never know, according to our needs. So, but he said, Tara, who have spoken, you may not find all the time, So, according to history, this Tara is supposed to have spoken. And then the reason I invited this also for this event, and I've been teaching the 7 points of mind training, and one of the initiation is Tara, 4 deities. So I was conducting this teaching in Asia, in Europe, now in America, and I'm doing in Canada. So for this reason, I'm able to invite this Tara, to show all of you, and because I don't bring this all the time. If it's lost, then great loss. This is what nearly happened in Indonesia. I must relate this story. I told one of my monks, make sure, even if you lose anything, that's okay, but make sure you don't lose this Tara statue. So I have a box, and he was carrying this Tara wherever I go. And then when we reached this place called Medan, and then we had lunch and we were very relaxed and almost tried to take a nap. Then I asked him, where's the statue? He said, what happened with the statue? We are like 15 monks, everyone forgot the statue with the box in the airport. And for a moment, everybody was speechless, just looking at each other. Now this is gone. So immediately we called airport, and it was so surprisingly, the statue was just lying there. Outside. It's not even inside the airport, outside where taxis, pick up people,
Just standing.
It was there with the box. Nobody touched the statue. It was so amazing. So I told Lama, luckily, if you have lost the statue, you will be in the history of Zurmang.
Zurmang history books.
In the history
I think Lama's very relieved you got it back, right? Lama's so relieved.
We are all relieved. So I make sure now, wherever I go, I keep watch on my Tara.
Yeah.
So this is the Tara. It's really special. And according to the history I mentioned, supposed to have spoken, And I know it's sometimes difficult, especially in West. You never heard something like this. So it's maybe difficult to, accept and sometimes understand. I mean, maybe due to culture, and I know this is hard, but this is what it is, So I have to tell you the truth. Like if you tell people in Qinghai, in Eastern Tibet, oh, now we are planning, we're going to colonize Mars. If you tell them you're going to colonize Mars very soon, they will get shocked. Nobody really, even there's a Mars there. But that's what it is, So
we just want to know what Tara said.
Oh, this is a green Tara.
No,
Oh?
what did Tara say?
Hi guys. I'm not sure what Tara said, but normally, like when you make prayers with an open heart, and then you want to learn something, sometimes you will have a vision. There are many such stories. And also there are such stories that, Tara made speak to you, like in Bodh Gaya. If you go to Bodh Gaya, on the left side there is a small Tara altar. And this is the Tara who said to Atisha, you should go to Tibet. It will be meaningful. You know? So there are such stories. There's lots of such story in Tibet. Maybe not in West. You may not find like statue speaking.
Don't think so.
Yeah? It may happen next
Maybe,
time.
yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm so happy to share with you.
Yeah, so nice to have this with us here because Rinpoche has a nice connection with Tara and often travels with the Tara statue, but not often this one, so it's a good opportunity for us to see this statue because Rinpoche brought it to America for his travels. Then Rinpoche, I was going to ask how, the Turton, how did you come across this? The Turton recently passed, yeah.
Which one?
The Turton who...
Yeah, he's found and now he's teaching now.
Oh, he's found again.
Teaching.
So he passed in 1990s or something, right?
No, he was 50s, 60s, I think.
Okay, and then he left it to the...
Oh, he left it with his attendant, attendant.
So
So I'm so happy to have this with me and hopefully there's a lot of blessing everywhere.
Yeah, so maybe Rinpoche at the end of the teaching, if there's time, there might be time for a blessing.
Oh, no problem.
So is there anything else you wanted to say before we break and then we'll do the teaching?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here and I really wanted to share this thought about 7 points of mind training, which is again very much part of our lineage because Master Lodro Rinchen, he have written one Mahamudra text and the commentary was written by one of the Thungpa known as Thungkunga Namgyal. And the commentary contains like 200, almost close to 300 pages. And even in this discussion, Mahamudra, the whole teaching of 7 points of mind training are fully explained. So it's not just something that we learn, but it is very much part of Mahamudra discussion. And I'm really looking forward to share this thought with all of you, maybe after the break. Yeah?
I will tell the story about how I requested this teaching because Rinpoche was teaching and planning he goes around every year to all his centers around the world, and he was planning to teach, so Rinpoche was planning to teach the 7-point mind training teaching, and then often there's some comments from his students, we already received that teaching, Rinpoche, can't we have something else like Mahamudra or empowerments or something like that? And then, of course, this is a little bit of a silly thing to say because it's receiving a teaching once doesn't mean that you've mastered it, of course. But then one time, we were working on a book, actually, Rinpoche's book, and then Rinpoche rang me up and he said, wow, this 7-point mind training is so profound. And he was like quoting some of the section on Ultimate Truth, Dundun Denpa, and he's saying, this is just like Mahamudra, just like Mahamudra. Then I thought, fantastic. And then I requested Rinpoche, when you come to Harvard, can you teach on the relationship between the 7-point mind training, Lojong, and Mahamudra? So this is the request. So Rinpoche kindly agreed. So thank you.
My pleasure.
So we're going to have a little bit of a break now, yeah?
Okay, great. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay, no
So
problem.
we'll have a 10-minute intermission, and please help yourself to the snacks, and then we'll come back for the teaching. Thank you.
So 10 minutes, I'll come back and see you. Thank you. Make yourself at home. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Welcome back. Now I'd like to share some of the verses from 7 points of mind training. I know there's so much to discuss, so I choose some of the most important part of the verses, which are also very much closely linked with the Mahamudra discussion. Because if I try to say everything, probably you have to sleep late tonight. Okay, now, the reason why mind training is so important, because when you embrace this technique that what you're going to learn shortly, we can make our life not just beautiful, but more meaningful. So, this teaching is about how to develop inner beauty. Because many of us concerned with more how we look externally. That's what I was saying when we are driving here. You know, when I reached a week ago, all the trees are all green and now turning into many different colors. I told Daniel and Ellie, this is my age now. So nobody can change this. It's the way that we have to just accept and move on. However, we can beautify inner beauty, which does not have any age. And beside that, 7 points of mind training is about how to acquire true freedom. Because many of us, we may want to live in a society there is a lot of freedom. However, we can also see people who are living in such a free country may not necessarily free within. So you can live even in such a difficult environment, but if you are free within, you are free all the time. So this is what we need to deeply understand and acquire. I will give you a story which happened to one of my Lama who was a great practitioner known as Lama Lamcho. He's from Tibet. When he first arrived in India, the place called Kalimpong, so he doesn't have any document, so he got arrested. So he was called in the front of officer, and officer was sitting on the chair, and officer was like somehow like, probably using harsh word, but he couldn't understand anything. So after some time, even though he couldn't understand, he knew that he's saying something bad. So he couldn't understand. There was no one who could translate for him. So he saw a mic in front of the office. So he just got up, get hold of that mic and knock on the head of officer. So he was sent to jail for 3 months. And he spent there 3 months. And after one day, then he was released. So he managed to get one translator, and he said, I have some requests to the officer. So the officer said, what you want to say now? He already knocked my head, So he said, can I stay longer, another 3 more months in the prison? Then everybody was so shocked, So what this guy, Because people want to run away from prison, but he wants to go inside the prison. And he said, why not? Why not? He said, I have a free food. I have a free place to live. So I do practice whole day. So he said, for me, this is the best place to practice. So this shows that, if you are free within, even when you live in such a difficult places, you will be always free and happy. So this is what we need to learn and acquire. So this discussion about also a part of how to be free ourselves. Because many times we may think that we are free, but we are somehow imprisoned by our negative emotions, such as anger, jealousy, hatred. So even you live in a bungalow, you drive beautiful cars, you have a lot of money to spend, yet you find a lot of people very unhappy. So happiness does not lie on these things. Happiness, true happiness, lies within when you acquire this freedom. Now, these verses are very much part of meditation, which also very much part of Mahamudra discussion. So these verses involves two kinds of meditation. The first is called analytical meditation, and the second one is called placement meditation. So of course, the purpose is so different. Earlier, a lot of meditation has been like important part of practitioner for more than 2,556 years ago. The main goal of meditation is to become a Buddha. But of course, today, many people practice, and not the purpose of becoming Buddha, to be simply happy. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Of course, when you practice meditation, it makes you calm. When the calmness is there, you have a lot of tranquility and happiness within. So it is nothing wrong. It's like, for instance, yoga. People learn yoga in olden days to attain realization, but people today learn yoga for fitness. So now yoga has become like a hamburger. So, okay, let me begin with the first verses. This is very, very deep. And when we go through these verses, you may find that I'm punishing myself. Why is so necessary to inflict pain on myself? No, the purpose of these verses are not to inflict pain on ourselves, but to eradicate the poison that we have been harboring for many, many lifetimes. Attachment to self, ego clinging. So as long as ego clinging attachment remains with us, or anger, such as jealousy, then you will never find true happiness. Sometimes we wonder why I'm so much in pain. So I will say, hey, we are not in heaven, we are in samsara. In Buddhism, this place is called samsara, which means cyclic existence, which refers to circle of rebirth, old age, sickness, and death. And this is very part of our life. So meditation helps us to be calm, to be happy, but such meditation may not be enough to eradicate such as poison, such as anger, jealousy, all the poison. As long as poison remains with us, we will never find true happiness. And I would say we are to be blamed for our own pain. Because for instance, such like anger. When an anger arises, we just let it be anger. Okay, anger comes. We just follow the anger. We don't do anything to, stop this anger, try to overcome this anger. The simple reason is because we are used to and we are not focusing too much. Anger is powerful, or jealousy is powerful, because we enhance them, we nurture them. When we get angry, we let be angry. We don't try to get rid of anger. So simply we're nurturing them for many, many years. So anger becomes stronger and stronger. At the same time, we become the slave of our own negative emotions. Okay? So there are three things that one has to recognize. Firstly, one has to see the moment an anger comes, or jealousy, whatever poison that comes to you, immediately you recognize that. The second step is the moment you pinpoint what is the problem with you, when you diagnose like doctor, what is the problem with you, immediately try to find the remedy. Okay? Then finally, make sure that with this remedy, the poison is totally eradicated. So when you follow such steps, you will never be imprisoned by all this poison. So this is in no one's hand. This is in your hand. So, and you have to act. That's what Buddha said. I can share with you, but you are the one. So Buddha has given us total freedom. And if we do not exercise this freedom that we have, then we're going to continually suffer for a long, long time. So I would like to go through this, these verses. The first verses is the ultimate bodhichitta. Now, meditation is not just about the right effort, your perseverance, but most importantly, how skillful you are. In order to meditate perfectly, you have to be very skillful. And the skill that you can acquire from everywhere. And as long as if you are fully present with mindfulness and awareness, you are in meditation, no matter you're walking, talking, sitting. Of course, during driving, you should not meditate, otherwise you may end up with accident. So that is not advisable. Other than, as long as this mindfulness present, awareness present, then you don't have to sit in meditation posture. You can be anywhere. You are still in meditation. So as long as you don't have these two tools, mindfulness means to remember that the effect of act of non-virtue, the act of virtue, and then awareness is to be fully present. Fully present. So you are becoming your own spy. Yeah? So actually, many teachers said, one of the great teachers known as Busuku. Busuku is his nickname, we call it Shiwala, Shantidewa. His name is Busuku because when people see him, he's always eating, enjoying eating. He's always using a lot of toilet. And he's always sleeping, So that's how he got his name, Busuku. So he said, if you are mindful and if you have this awareness, then nothing can really, harm you. Nothing can distract you from your path. And actually, you can be your best teacher. It is true. Because teacher may not be with you all the time. When your teacher is not with you, you are free. Today I'm going to have a party. But if you are yourself a teacher, then you need to know, I need to practice. So you can be your best teacher. And when I was observing all the techniques from different gurus, I found looking at parents, skillful parenting, good parents, when they look after children, you can actually learn a lot. Our good parenting, like father or mother, when they take care of child, they will let the children move around, run around in their sitting room or outside their yard. Yet at the same time, you give them a lot of freedom, so there is no stress to the children, and there is no stress to yourself. So both of you are enjoying this freedom and enjoying this companionship. At the same time, you're having full watch on your children, so make sure that nothing goes wrong. So this way, you are happy, your children are happy. So parent could be some of the best teacher, teach us how to be perfect meditator, So we can learn similarly like parents because we can afford our body to be exhausted, but we cannot afford our mind to be exhausted. Because if our mind is exhausted, it takes long time to recover. To recover. So we have to be very careful with mind. So therefore, meditation is practice of 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So duration is not important, but how we practice is the most important. Okay? So let me go through these verses. Okay? This is very deep. This is training in ultimate bodhicitta. There's a relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. And this is very much what we learn in Mahamudra teachings. So regard all things as a dream. Examine the nature of unborn awareness. Let even the antidote itself be self-liberated. Rest in the alaya, the essence. The post-meditation be a conjurer of illusion. So now, of course, for many, many lifetimes, our perception of dualism has become very strong. I, you, me, mine become very, very strong. So if you say to someone, "Oh, this paper is not a paper; it's actually mine," then definitely people will say you are crazy. So we are not saying that this paper is mine. But what we are saying here, what Chikawa is saying is, when you analyze whatever object that you see accidentally, you will never find inherent in existence. Even today, the most subtle objects, such as atom, can be cut into many pieces. At the end, you won't find anything. There's just a light, just empty. Because we are seeing things externally or internally, not because it existed inherently, because there are so many cause and effect goes in order to see something. Like for instance, when you watch a movie, everybody like to watch movie. Yeah, I like to watch zombies. So even to watch movie, there's so many things has to come together. Film, director, producer, electricity, screen. Without that, we can't see anything, by itself. So, which shows that it's like an illusion. It's like a dream. Dream will be because everything put together, then I'm somehow labeled as a sumo and Gharwang by ignorance. But if I cut my body into many different pieces, you will never find Zurmang Gharwang. No, my hand is not Zurmang Gharwang, my head is not Zurmang Gharwang, my body is not Zurmang Gharwang. So it's generally, when we put together, we simply perceive something as a particular object. But it doesn't mean that things exist truly. So when you investigate using all the logical reasoning, one will definitely come to conclusion that things does not exist. So, sometimes we wonder, how come then, if it's mine, then how come they're so solid like paper, like table? Even water is fluid, it is smooth, we are able to drink. But when this water meet with a condition, it can be solidified like an ice. It becomes, solid as rock. So one can use many kinds of different logics to make sense what we are saying. We are not simply saying that this is it, but one has to look. There's a lot of freedom in your hand to use this logic to make sure that you come to this understanding. Now, what happens is that when you learn that thing does not exist externally, so it is the mind. It's the mind who is the creation, who is the builder, the architect. The famous architect, actually we don't know, is our mind. Mind is the one who creates everything. So things does not exist externally. That's what Mahamudra describes. But if does mind exist? Now the question is, you need to look inward. Okay, if there is so-called mind, where is this mind? What is the color of this mind? Where this mind came from? What is the color? What is the shape? we try to find, using all kinds of analysis or through your logical reasoning, you try to find what is the mind, the shape. You may not able to find. You should try. I cannot say that you will not find, but you should try. You may find it if you're lucky. And then you have to say, where, if there is so-called mind, where is this mind? Is it inside you or outside you? If it's outside, then probably we are zombie now. Yeah? So it has to be inside. Then you try to look within. Where is this mind now? Okay? So ultimately, the more you analyze, you have to sit, meditation, focus, keep analyzing, and then you come to a conclusion, okay, things does not exist externally, internally, even the mind does not exist. Okay? And there is a danger. Then there's a danger of being immune to Dharma. This is one of the dangers. We may get immune to Dharma. That, if that happens, then if it's strictly according to Buddhist belief, then we have any more freedom. It's like medicine becoming a poison. So a lot of time people tend to have this belief that, okay, it's empty, then why I need to practice? Why I need to pray? Why do I need to do this? I just enjoy my life. Why I need to go through all this training? So as long as you are confused, your confusion remains, and in order to achieve clarity, to overcome, overcome from this confusion, we need techniques, we need teachings, we need methods, way to recognize I'm confused. Okay? And as you can see from here, let even the antidote itself be self-liberated. So this is what happens. And then when you start to think everything is empty. Now there's a lot of misperception about emptiness. Emptiness doesn't mean that just empty space. It's not just empty space. It's also luminous. Luminous means which has the quality of knowing. So this what is the quality of mind. If you say, where is mind, what is mind, you can't really show you. I cannot show what is mind look like. But I can say, mind is the one who's thinking now. Are you thinking now? Yeah. That is mind. That is mind. So the self nature of mind is free from all kinds of fabrication. The characteristic of mind is luminous, which has certain degree of understanding, knowing, recognizing, feeling all this. And then appearance of mind is spontaneous. That is how you can characterize mind. So, you don't have to think. It comes just naturally. Okay? And then when you think, oh, everything does not exist, mind doesn't, so everything is emptiness. So when you try to rest on such nature, and again, it becomes an imprisonment. Attachment to emptiness also becomes a problem. Even if you have an attachment to Buddha, that's the problem. So attachment is, it doesn't mean depend on the objects. To whomever you have attachment is a problem. So when you have this feeling of like emptiness that, oh, everything is empty, when you start to have attachment, and then you have to look at that attachment itself. Look at the attachment, emptiness itself, to the emptiness itself. Even the thought of emptiness will just dissolve. Like, for instance, if you use a stick, if you rub together, eventually the both stick will be consumed by fire. Then and at the end, the fire itself will just dissolve. Okay? This is very important because this is how we can deal directly with the attachment. Even though it's a bit deep, I know it's very profound, sometimes to put in different words is hard, and you find that you're chewing stone, you know. This meaning is like chewing stone, so I know it's not easy, but the more you try to go through it, the better you will have a better understanding. And finally, you know, don't investigate, just try to rest in the essence of our mind, which is luminous. The character, the essence of mind is empty, and the characteristic is luminous. The appearance is spontaneous. So if you can recite your mind in such nature, this will bring back your wandering thought into the right place. So actually, we are like a shepherds, you know. We need to bring back all our flocks. Otherwise, if you let your flocks run away, it may be eaten by, you know, jackals and foxes and wolves and yetis. So we need to bring back and then keep it safe. So that's what we are doing. So you can rest in such nature. This is a very profound, and that's what Chikawa help us to learn. And it says in the post, this is during the meditation. So during the post meditation, what we need to do, this is also the best way to practice detachment. You know, to see everything as an illusion. Everything is not real. Like something like reflection of the moon in the water, in the bucket, or in the lake. It is there, it is not there. So, because now we tend to think everything is real, and then all this attachment, anger, jealousy grows within. So when you recognize this illusion, then you will withdraw from attachment. Like for instance, a best illusionists are able to create so many beautiful objects. And a person who doesn't know may tend to develop desire or anger or attachment, whatever, you know. But to illusionists who knows his or her creation will never have such emotions. Therefore, it is so important, to practice this way. So this is about ultimate bodhichitta. I know it's very difficult, but it is important, so I just want to say it and share with you. You know, it is so interesting. Chikawa is the one who actually compiled the 7 points. What happened was an interesting story. One day, he visited his friend, and he saw a verses on the table. And there were 2 verses on the table, and he read. He said, give all success to other, victories to other, and take all the defeat to oneself. I said, he read again, is it true? He said, he started thinking, who's this crazy guy, you know? To even think that this is totally against our norm set up by our society. You know, when we are young, we are taught give defeat to others, take back all the victories. That's what we learn, that's what we are taught. But it's totally against the norm of the society. Then he wanted to meet who's this guy, must be so crazy, you know. And then, of course, he couldn't find who was Langri Thampa, happened to be one of the great masters. But then he was able to meet Sharawa. And then Sharawa, under his guidance, he studied 12 years. And then according to his request, earlier was 10 points of mind training, 8 points of mind training. So he compiled into 7 points of mind training. So this is the teaching that I'm sharing with you. Now, the actual part of whole text of 7-point mind training, actually, these verses represent the whole practice of 7 points of mind training. It says, train in two, giving and taking alternately, you know. Then these 2 are to be mounted on the breath. So these 2 verses actually represent the whole teaching, the essence teaching of 7 points of mind training. So it's basically taking and giving. You know, it may sound very cruel, and so I was asked many times, Rinpoche, am I going to take suffering of others? I have so much of suffering, then I'm going to have, top of my suffering, I'm going to suffer more, you know. So probably I may not able to do this. This, you know, it doesn't mean that this practice is to punish you. It doesn't mean that the moment you start practicing, you will have all the suffering. No, that's not the case. If that is the case, you can visualize all the good things of others you take away without doing anything. You take away good things of all others, you know. I think only when you are fully realize you are able to take the pains of others, and when you reach such level, you will never find difficulties. They will be very, very happy to take. You know, like mothers, a good parent, loving parent, you know, sometimes takes the pain of their children and they take it with love, not with hatred and anger. So one day you may be able to do this. And also why it is so important is because the longer we have attachment to self, the longer we're going to suffer. So this is to help to practice detachment. Okay? So how we practice? Of course, according to many masters, we always have to rely on our parents. You know, I'm saying good parents because I was asked again when I said this, somebody said, my parents are not so good. So I'm giving you an example who's very good parents. Very good parents. You know, when you think a lot, you know, it's so much work, you know, like mothers, when they have to keep us in 8 months in the stomach, it's not so easy. Like when I have a little bit stomach, I feel so uncomfortable. You know, for me, I can stop eating, but then mother, you can't stop eating. You have to carry for 9 months, you know. And then the moment when you're giving birth, so much of pain the mother has to endure. And then once, you know, and this contract goes to 18 years. I was told by someone that once you get married, you sign a contract for 18 years. Is it true? Not true, yeah? Maybe just a joke. Anyway, then both parents, you know, like for instance, you know, they worry when they're a child, you know, they worry their education, they worry about their health. When they educated, when they graduate, they worry about their work, what kind of work they're going to find. Once they manage to find a job, they try to worry what kind of wife or husband they will find. You know, once they have a husband, what kind of children they're going to have. Oh, the worries of good parent goes on and on. There's no end at all. Therefore, parents will be a good candidate. Of course, if you can practice with your husband or wife or your friend or family, even with your dog and cat. You know, I sometimes practice with my cat. I have 2 cats, beautiful cats. So how we practice? This is the main part of the practices. And this practice, actually, the practice is for, you know, the main essence of most, I would say, Buddhism as whole. So how we practice? We just sit in meditation posture. If not, you can sit on a comfortable chair like this and just visualize you are taking away all the pain and suffering of others into you. And then you visualize that others becoming very happy, excited, and joyful. Okay? And then you share all your love, care, compassion to others. And you visualize others receiving your gift. They become very happy. Okay? So that's how we can practice. And if you want to add further, what you can also do is this become also part of your meditation, you know, part of your meditation. Like for instance, you have to, so this makes, you know, Kadampa techniques are so meaningful. You know, I know breathing is very, very important. You know, if you stop breathing, then it's very dangerous. So we have to keep breathing, you know. But breathing is just to keep alive. That's it. There's no meaning at all. But when you include the technique of Kadampa masters, then even your breathing becomes more profound than just ordinary breathing. Like for instance, you know, when you have to inhale, yeah. You don't have to do, You don't have to breathe forcefully, okay? You don't have to exhale forcefully, just breathe normally. That's how you breathe every day. When you breathe, you just visualize all the faults of other will come in the darkish form, enters from your nostril, and goes down, deep down, and dissolve into your heart. And you visualize you are taking away all the pains of others. And you have to see others being very happy, joyful, and satisfied. Okay? And then when you exhale, then you give away. Give away all your success, good health, prosperity, love, kindness, everything, which comes out in whitish curl, like a sun ray, enters from their nostril and dissolve into your heart. And then you visualize they all become very happy, joyful, because they have received this gift. So, this is part of meditation, and it's a meaningful meditation for ourselves, because this is also a way to, overcome, reduce our attachment to self, attachment to ego clinging, such as ego clinging. So this is the practice done by many Kadampa masters. So you can do everywhere while you're in the subway. Of course, not in the car. Of course, if you're not driving, that's okay. At home, everywhere. And I find it Kadampa techniques are so useful in our life. Ordinary days, like for instance, when you are angry, when you are jealous, when you are not happy, that's it. It makes you uncomfortable. Maybe you make others uncomfortable. There's no meaning at all. But for Kadampa techniques, when you use this technique, even your anger becomes very meaningful. Like for instance, suddenly you get angry. Suddenly you get angry. What you can do, you can't do anything. You can't laugh, you are angry. Yeah? Okay? So what you can do is you start thinking, okay, may my anger represent the angers of all others. Okay, first step. Second, may others be free from such anger like my anger. Okay? Finally, may others be free from such anger until they become a Buddha. So now your anger becomes meaningful. So this is what we can do every day. We are not shorted of angers every day. And you will have a lot of opportunities every day, because when you live a life, then not like us, we live in the monastery, so Buddha seldom makes us unhappy. So we can be patient and practice patience with Buddha, but you are in the real life, so you have so many opportunities. This way you can practice everywhere. So for a good practitioner, thoughts and such anger, jealousy, hatred, it's not something painful. You should be rejoiceful, because this you can practice whatever happens to you. So it becomes a fuel. It's a meaningful fuel to attain realization. So what we are doing here is transforming all your negative attitude into the path of enlightenment. So you shouldn't be unhappy when you experience such thing in life, because every day, sometimes you don't, you may have a problem with a family, friends, working colleague, everywhere, because wherever human being, there should be a problem. Yeah. If there's no problem, then you are not anymore with human beings. So when such situation arises, so this way you can do it the best way, and it's not so easy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hold bell and Dhamma rule and start praying. You don't have to do that. By sitting how you are sitting now, comfortably in your office, in your car, wherever, you can practice this way. So it is so meaningful. And it says, begin the process of taking with yourself. So before you begin with others, you need to practice with yourself. Because if you are asked to practice compassion to others, I don't think it's that easy, especially if you dislike someone, and then, if you're asked to be compassionate, I don't think you can do that. So you need to practice with someone you like, and most important, to yourself. Like, for instance, if you are sharing suffering, what you can do according to the text, Chitta would say, you can just sit, and today I may be in pain, and I try to think about pain tomorrow, okay? And then you bring back today. I think of pain about week ahead. I bring back today. And think about pain month ahead, years ahead, or 10, 20 years ahead. All the pain that you bring in you now, and try to feel it and experience, And the more you practice similar way, you are able to endure the pain not only of yourself, but pains of others. Like the story, when Buddha was still alive, when Buddha was there was a practitioner who was, very devoted. He was very rich, but then he was so stingy, in the nature. He was so stingy. He couldn't practice generosity, But he wanted to practice generosity. So he asked Buddha how to practice. I can't do it. So then, he was advised, okay, you start with a vegetable. First, start with the vegetable first, Buddha said, hold vegetable on your right hand, and then you visualize your right hand is you, the left hand is others. And pass your right vegetable on the left hand. When he did that first time, there was so much of pain inside him. He was like, oh my gosh, there's someone else, He started to have a pain. So then when he gave it back to left hand, he felt very happy. He didn't feel anything, So when he gave the right hand, initially there was a pain. Then eventually the pain was reduced step by step. Then he became one of the most generous among all the patrons, So similarly, we can practice and we can be trained. There's no doubt at all. It's just what we need is practice and perseverance. Definitely, we will reach there. So this is very important part of the discussion. This belongs to relative bodhichitta, and this is a technique that you can share everywhere. Whenever this emotion arises, okay, you don't have to worry that everything will come to you. No, you don't worry. You are just you are destroying your ego clinging, because ego clinging, that's like Busuku, as I mentioned earlier. He said, ego clinging, I is the real ghost. He said, people are afraid of ghosts. Why are you afraid? Because ghost does not possess any body. Ghost cannot really harm you because it's formless. But the real ghost may harm you. This is you, And when ghost is walking, that live body is walking. Nobody's afraid. But when the body when the person dies, people tend to be afraid. The body will never harm you. Why you be afraid? So he said, ego clinging is like the ghost. So we shouldn't be having attachment to self. Now this part is very, very interesting. Can you see the 3 objects, 3 poison, 3 roots of virtue? So this explains how we transform all the act of non-virtue, the act of virtue. Like due to 3 objects, I think you can analyze. Due to 3 objects, 3 kinds of poison arises. Like for instance, when you see someone you like, attachment, desire grows. Okay? And when you see someone that you dislike, anger goes. When you see someone that you don't really care, someone drinking coffee in the Starbucks, neither you have attachment nor you have anger. So through this person, you develop ignorance. Okay? So how we transform these poison into the seed of virtue, as I mentioned earlier, and this can be fuel for path to enlightenment. Like for instance, when attachment comes to you, instead of getting just attached to things or person, you visualize that my attachment represents the attachment of all others, first. Second, may others be free from such attachment, okay? And then finally, may others be free from such attachment until they become a Buddha. So this is something that we can do it every day, because practice should be something practical, and we can do it useful in daily life. Because there are many practices we may learn, but we may not how to use it. Like if you don't know how to drive car, even if you may buy an expensive car, it's going to be meaningless. Similarly, whatever you learn, and if you can use this technique in your daily life to make our life more meaningful, so I think this is more beneficial. Yeah. Okay. So are you clear about this? Yeah. So far, okay. Yeah. Hopefully you are not in nirvana. Huh? Okay, we are coming close. So as a practitioner, whenever unfavorable condition arises, one has to transform this into favorable condition by, as I just said earlier, we should be able to transform all this in your favor. So if you can do that, then wherever you are, no matter whatever difficulties that you face in life, you are able to make it beneficial. So if you can do that, you become a perfect practitioner. All else, if you just know, because Dharma is something that knowing is the first step, but without practicing, knowing doesn't help. So by knowing and putting into practice will be more meaningful. And these are the technique that that's so meaningful. So finally, coming to the third part, which is can you have a look? Okay. When all the world is filled with evil, transform adversity into the path of enlightenment, drive all blame into one, meditate on the great kindness of all. Okay, now that's what we have been discussing. Particularly, our time is the right time, because according to Buddhist belief, we are not in the golden age. There's a twofold age, threefold age. We are in the dark age. And our time is supposed to be the worst time, worst time. Because I think not only like today when you see the environmentally, in the environment is changing so, drastically. Like today it's supposed to be cold, supposed to be winter, now it's so hot. So I don't know what to wear every day, it's a different temperature. So becoming crazy. And mentally, due to all this happening, the environment definitely affects mentally. So our mind becoming restless, and you see people with full of stress, and full of anxiety, full of worries. And in such environment, I think such practices will be meaningful. Then you are able to make these situations, unfavorable situation, into the favorable situation for oneself. So it is very, very meaningful. One thing, according to many teachers, like Buddha said, we have to be responsible of ourselves. We cannot blame anyone for our wrongdoing. Of course, certain time, definitely due to different reasons. Some may be harmful to you. Many times we are not happy, we are in pain and stress is because of our own wrongdoing. Sometimes we make our target unrealistic. And one has to be realistic. When you aim such high, definitely you're going to be in trouble. So my logic is, what I do, and I always advise my friend is, like, you should try your best, and whatever outcome be, you should be happy and move on. And at the same time, prepare yourself for the worst. So, when I have such attitude, then I feel happier, and when I face, even though I'm Rinpoches or it could be any lamas, as long as we're in samsara, probably we face the same trouble like you, difficulty like you. But then due to our practice, we may able to, somehow manage. Like we are good manager, in office. If your business has to be run properly, you need a good manager. So if you say in terms of dharma, probably we're a better manager because we have been brought up this way. So this way we are able to manage better. And this is very, very important. One meditate on great kindness of all. This is very, very important because I think, if someone want to be Buddha, if I want to be Buddha, without you, I cannot be Buddha. I need you. Like a politician, If they want to be elected, they need you. Without you, they cannot be elected. So similarly, like if I want to be Buddha, I need your help. If you don't vote it for me, I can't be Buddha. Not Buddha. If you are not there, I can't be Buddha because you are my precious, practice. Because you help me to be patient. You teach me to be compassionate. You teach me to be thoughtful, and whatever I practice, you are my dharma book, So you help me to practice better. So therefore, if someone respect others, is known as a real practitioner. A person who only respect only oneself, then is not a practitioner. It's not a practitioner, just an ordinary being. So therefore, you are very, very important to someone who wants to become a Buddha. Because of us, Siddhartha became a Buddha. If we are not there, probably Siddhartha will never become a Buddha. So coming to the last point, this is very, very deep again. The reason why in Buddhism, this was explained again and again, why if you inflict pain on oneself is such a crime, because we visualize Buddha in you. We look for a Buddha somewhere else, but this is to look Buddha within you. And you look for a protection somewhere else, but actually you have protected, the most profound protection in you. Okay? So, like for instance, in Buddhism, just let me speak briefly. We talk about four kaya. It's maybe new to you. We have Dharma kaya. Dharma kaya means a body of realization. When Buddha becomes a Buddha, when someone becomes a Buddha, next time maybe one of you may become a Buddha, then you will know when you become a Buddha, and the body of realization is known as the Dharmakaya. Okay? And a body of empty is called Sobhagakaya. And this is for self. But then how to help others? Without helping others, I can't be meaningful. To help others, Buddha has two bodies. Sambhogakaya means body of joy, like a Tara, like what you see today, to highly accomplished individuals. And Nirmanakaya, like Buddha Shakyamuni. Not necessarily he will come in the form of, male. It may come in the female. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama always say, it may come as a female next time. So you never know. According to the benefit of others, they may appear in a different form. So we always say, don't look Buddha somewhere else. When you look for a Buddha somewhere else, you will never find. Therefore, we are still here. So we will try to look within. Okay? So whatever you see externally, whatever look within you inside, your suppose like your mind, which is in the nature is empty, and the characteristic luminous, and the appearances is spontaneous. Spontaneous. Okay, so the body of clarity, the body of emptiness is Subhagakaya, Dhammakaya. The body of clarity, luminous, is Sambhogakaya. And the union of these three bodies is called Nirmanakaya. And the body of four of these inseparable form is called Sobhagakaya. You know? So in fact, the body, all the body is a Buddha. We possess this Buddha. You know? Actually, we are Buddha. You know? We are part of the Buddha. You know? And this is called also the profound instruction on showing the four kaya within you. Okay? And it is also the most profound view. When you have such view, then nothing can really remove you, or nothing can harm you because you're holding the right view. And finally, this is the most profound protection called the protection of emptiness. You know, so when you visualize emptiness, nothing can really harm you. You know, especially in Tibet, if you go there one day, you know, you will find people wearing many kinds of objects to protect from all kinds of forces. One day I met one small boy. He came to me and said, "Rinpoche, can I have some more protection?" When I look at his neck, he was wearing 20 of them. You know, I said, "You have 20. You want to add one more? Okay." You know, so people like to wear protection. People like to carry different things to protect yourself. But if you practice similar way, you will be always protected. If you're wearing anything, you are fully protected. Okay? So this is how you need to see. And I would like to leave it here. And I really enjoy being with all of you. And hopefully that whatever we've discussed briefly will be meaningful to you. And hopefully when I come next time, I will see you again. Okay? Once again, I would like to thank all of you for coming here. And especially I'd like to thank Wisdom Publication and Harvard School for holding this event in Harvard. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We hope to see you at the next event. Thank you. Thank you.
Huh? Blessing? Yeah, okay. If, okay, anybody wants the blessing?
So the Tara statue and the Phurba Rinpoche brought, he's going to offer to do a blessing for. So if anyone wants to come up and get a blessing from Rinpoche with the special objects, maybe we can start a line up along the back there and then come through and circle out.
Free of charge.
Free of charge. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rinpoche.
Okay, thank you. On the head, okay. Good luck, eh? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to take home. Thank you. No, that's the thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. Hi, James. Wow, I wanted to call you. Thank you, Sam. Nice to see you again. Yes.